Good morning. It is the Wednesday before the 4th of July, and here I am driving to work again. I kind of like this. I think this is a great way for me to get these videos out on my trip to work. So with that, like and subscribe. Please comment whether you agree with me or not. Please watch my videos to the end. That's very important for the algorithms, and that will get my videos out there a little bit more. So that's the intro. Let's get on with the subject. Today, first thing I wanted to say is that the other day I made a video, and I watch my videos. I don't watch them all the way through, but I kind of skip through just to, before I post them, I make sure that, I at least like the content, and that I don't judge them based on how I look. I just post it how it doesn't matter how I look on them, but I judge them based on how I sound, what I'm saying, and if the message is actually something that is going to be beneficial to people. And one of the videos that I did, it was like 20 minutes long, and when I went to listen to it the other day to decide whether to post it or not, I sounded almost like I was scolding people, and I saw that. I heard that in my voice, and I could tell. Sometimes I get fired up about my subject. Sometimes I get really passionate about what I'm talking about, and it seems almost like I'm like telling somebody off. And I wanted to let everybody know that I never mean to come across that way. If I ever sound like I'm being scolding, that is probably the school teacher in my parents. Both my parents were school teachers, and I was raised by teachers, so yeah, I might have a little bit of a scoldy sound in my voice, but I wanted you to know right up front, I never mean to sound that way. But the subject today, what I wanted to talk about today is, it has to do with people judging, the judgment, the criticisms, the difference between seeing things that are going haywire in somebody's spiritual realm and judging and condemning and accusing. That's what I wanted to talk about today. There's a huge divide between Christians and religious, between people who follow Christ and people who follow religion. There's this big divide having to do with judgment. Religious people feel very strongly that we are to judge, and the Bible they're not wrong. We're to discern. We are to judge, which is to take into consideration what's going on and evaluate it and see it for what it is, and make a deduction, come to a conclusion about what's going on. We are to use wise judgment. And yes, whenever it comes to another brother in Christ, which is another person who is a follower of Christ or somebody who is spiritual, we are led and guided to help that person by judging what they're doing, what's going on in their life, what might be blocking them from being in the spiritual one. And that is okay, to unblock somebody, to notice that somebody is struggling in a way that they may not realize, and to help them get unblocked. That is what biblical judgment means. It means to help somebody unblock something that they may not have even realized was blocking them from the spiritual path. On the flip side of that, religious people tend to think that judging somebody means pointing out their actions and their behaviors and criticizing them, accusing them, and condemning them for them. That is the opposite of judging in love. When you're judging in love, you're unblocking somebody. When you're condemning and accusing, those are things that the enemy does. Those are things that followers of Christ are not led to do. If you can find a place in the Bible that tells us to condemn other people, if you can find a place in the Bible that tells us to be the accuser, please show me that. Because from what I've read, the enemy is the accuser. And condemnation doesn't come from God or from Christ. condemnation comes from our own guilt, our own suffering. People tend to feel guilt. We do have consciences, and we do feel guilt about the things that we're doing wrong. It's not like everybody in the world has to have somebody like a sin police going around and making sure that you point out all the things that your other people are doing wrong, because people know when they're doing something wrong. Now, there are people whose consciences are severed. There are people who are we have sociopaths and psychopathic people in this world whose consciences have been severed, and they don't recognize when they're doing something wrong. We have people that are mentally ill. We have people that don't know right from wrong. That's true. But for the majority of humanity, most people, when they're separated from God, when they're not doing what's right, when they're lying, cheating, and stealing, when they're being a total, holy terror to society, people know. They feel it. It's called a conscience, and we all have it. So allowing people's consciences to grow them and change them in their timing is something that I believe is necessary. Yes, we are to help people along, but we're not to force their journey. There's another division, another difference. There's helping people on their path to oneness and to love and joy, peace and abundance. There's wanting to help people. Oh gosh, I have to hang this up. Somebody's calling me. Okay. There's helping people get on their path and stay on the path of peace and abundance. And then there's trying to force them to walk their journey faster than what is designed for them to walk it. Let me give you an example. It took me decades to learn why, I don't know if you can say the word on YouTube, when two people are together physically, outside of marriage. I was doing that outside of marriage. I would have a boyfriend, and, that's what people do, and I didn't see anything wrong with it. I was a Christian. And it took me decades. Now, I knew the Bible said we're not supposed to do that. I knew the Bible said you save that for marriage. I knew that good, solid Christians were saying, oh, you remain celibate if you're single, and you save that for marriage. And I knew that was a thing. I knew the Bible said it. And every time I read those things in the Bible, I would think, that I do that. And I felt it. I did. And I knew that there was something there that I needed to learn. Now, fast forward decades, it took me 30 years to learn why it's so important. And it's not a strict and rigid law, rule, you have to obey it or you're going straight to hell. It's not like that. It's something spiritual, that there's a spiritual, scientific connectivity reason why it's not a good idea to join your bodies, your chemistry, your emotions, and the essence of everything you are with somebody that you don't even necessarily like or want to spend your life with. Now, does that mean that if you do that, you're all messed up and you're going straight to hell? No, you're not condemned to hell for doing it. You're on a journey learning that there are healthy ways to express yourself and unhealthy ways to express yourself. And not everybody has to be on the same journey, on the same path, learning the same thing, learning at the same time. I had people that used to condemn me just for having a guy spend the night, even if he was sleeping on the couch. I actually got booted out of a Baptist church because I had a friend who was a man. I let him stay on my couch because there was a snowstorm and I didn't want him to get hurt driving home in the snow. So I let him stay on my couch. And the Baptist church kicked me out. It was a Southern Baptist church with a pastor that was very cult-like, but that's beside the point. But they ended up getting together and saying that I was giving the impression of sin by letting this man who was, we were in our 20s, we were like 23, and I let him stay in my house on the couch so that he wouldn't have to drive in a snowstorm But they booted me out of the church because they said I was giving the appearance of evil. I was giving the appearance of evil. So my neighbors would have thought, oh, that man went into her house but didn't come back out. She gave the appearance of evil, and they said you're out of the church. Now that's freaking harsh. And at the time I didn't flinch. I knew that something was wrong there with that church. I knew there was something way too legalistic about what they were doing, because here I was being kind to this friend of mine. There was nothing going on between us. They didn't know what was going on behind closed doors. Were they peeking in my windows? If they had been peeking in my windows, they would have seen that he was on the couch. And, but they were so legalistic that they felt, and they actually said that they knocked on my door. They actually said they came and knocked on my door. They came to my house to try to stop me from sinning. Now, that's the extreme. That is an extreme example, but people tend to do minor, smaller things like that, to where they look at somebody and their lifestyle and they immediately jump to conclusions, and they immediately judge what they're doing, and they immediately think they know what's going on in their bedroom, and they immediately think they know what's going on in their heart, and then they jump on the accusation, condemnation train. That is wrong. It's just wrong. And here I am. I sound like I'm telling you off again. Sorry. But here I am. I'm passionate about this subject, but that is wrong. You can't, well, you can if you want to, but, and I don't want to say you shouldn't, because that's also scolding. Let's just say, spiritually speaking, we have to let people learn on their journeys. And fast forward to how it took me 30 years to realize certain things were wrong. Now, I don't go around telling everybody, what's wrong for them, but I can tell you that certain things were wrong for me. And the reason that it was wrong for me was that I was very codependent. I would get attached in an unhealthy style. I had an unhealthy attachment style. So what would happen to me was I would get attached, and then I would go into relationships for all the wrong reasons, and I would end up with somebody way longer than I should have been for reasons that were not spiritually healthy. So the rules and the laws of the Bible are there for our spiritual health. They're there for our spiritual health. And our spiritual health is what's important. We are to help each other continue to be spiritually healthy. And we're to help each other in a way that's healthy. But picking out physical things that people are doing along their journey and condemning them and telling them they're going to hell for it is not discernment. It's not judgment in love. It's not spiritually healthy to do that. What it does is anybody who isn't in the light and living as one will, a lot of times they get driven away by that. There's a lot of people that are driven away from Christ because they can't stand the church. And the church isn't necessarily Christ. They misjudge Christ. So there's a misrepresentation of Christ going on in the religious community. I would say that that's a sin, but I'm not going to go around pointing at them. I used to, and I was corrected, not by a person. I was corrected by my conscience. See, that's how that works. The Spirit of one will correct us in the right timing. And I learned not to go around trying to get all the religious people to see the light. I was corrected by the Holy Spirit, which is the Spirit of one. That happened inside me. Nobody had to come along and tell me to stop doing that. I evolved. I evolved on my journey into knowing that that's just fruitless. So I really, really encourage people to evolve in their journey and to let other people evolve in their journey, and to not be harsh on people and to not condemn, but to try to walk along with other people who are on their journey and be a light to them, be an encouragement to them. We are called to be an encouragement. We are called to be supportive. We are called to be one and to guide other people to the light. So if we're doing that, then we're doing what the Father presented to us and told us that that's what we're here for. That is our purpose, to bring everybody to the light. So that's it. I'm at 14 and a half minutes and it's time to go to work. So Thanks again for listening. I want to just say that I really appreciate every single person who's on my channel. Please share my channel. If you like the content, please share it with your friends. Share it with anybody that you can. I am going to learn at some point how to get this out there. I know somebody's been trying to get a hold of me. I haven't seen your email. I'm sorry, but at some point, I'm going to learn how to get my channel out there more. But in the meantime, it is exactly where it's supposed to be. And I appreciate every single person on here. I think I have 100 and something subscribers. I have people who watch, and I really, really love you all. I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful day. I will see you next time.